Which actor rejected the role of Doctor Strange, but instead agreed to portray one of the most famous DC characters? And which movie trailer beat world records by getting an enormous amount of views in the first 24 hours? And did you hear about the furore over a fan petition about Elsa in Frozen 2? Hi, I'm Peter, and I'm going to tell you about the 7 best upcoming movies in fall 2019. It 2. Stephen King's Losers Club have all grown up and understandably moved away from Derry in the vain hope of forgetting about all the horrors that they saw in that town. But a baleful phone call inevitably brings the gang back together. Pennywise, the dancing clown, is back, and the Losers Club has no choice but to return to their hometown and fight it. If you guys were amazed with It Chapter 1 as much as I was, then hold your breath and follow your boats down the drain in search of Chapter 2, hitting cinemas September 6th. And here's some intriguing news for you about the movie. The original director's cut of the sequel had a monster-sized runtime of 4 hours. Brother-sister team movie director Andy Muschietti and producer Barbara Muschietti were naturally worried about the length of the film and made some pretty ruthless edits for release, bringing the total runtime down to a much more manageable 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's still a pretty long movie, folks. But if that just wasn't enough it for you, the full-length adaptation of Stephen King's book will be released for home viewing. Barbara Muschietti clarified that the 4-hour-long version of It Chapter 2 includes some amazing scenes that didn't make it into the movie. But even if you don't plan to watch the director's cut, no worries, there'll be no toning down the terror, as all the most chilling scenes will be present in the cinema version, including the most ghoulish one of all, what is reportedly the bloodiest scene in the entire history of horror. At least, that's what Jessica Chastain, who plays grown-up Bev Marsh, promised on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. In It Chapter 2, we'll allegedly see the largest amount of fake blood ever used in a movie scene. Fans of horror movies will no doubt be deeply impressed. And for those of you who want to know much more about Pennywise the Dancing Clown, check out our other video. The link is on your top right. Rambo 5. Shortly after the release of King's gory horror story, another film full of blood and vengeance will hit cinema screens. That's right, Sylvester Stallone is back on September 20th with his new movie, Rambo: Last Blood. So, what will it be about? John James Rambo is naturally in search of a calm and relaxing retirement after a lifetime of bullets and blood. But this gets cut short when a friend's daughter gets kidnapped by a powerful and dangerous Mexican drug cartel. So Rambo is forced to turn rescue ranger once again. Seems like those guys from the drug cartel need to brush up on their military history, as they'll be facing off against a one-man army. Interestingly, the title of the film has changed a couple of times over the years. In early stages, the tentative title was Rambo 5: The Savage Hunt. Then we got Rambo 5: Last Stand. And finally, following the long tradition of confusing Rambo film titles, the number was removed entirely to give us the final name, Rambo: Last Blood, which would be a fitting ending for the Rambo saga, which started with First Blood. Except, did I say a fitting ending for the Rambo saga? My bad. It may indeed sound like the last film in the series, but according to Sylvester Stallone, there may well be yet another Rambo if Last Blood's box office is a big enough hit. Let me just say something about the last of anything, Sylvester Stallone said. I thought Rocky 3 was the last, so I don't know anything. If it works, I'll just keep going, because I enjoy it so much. What could possibly follow if we get a Rambo 6 if Rambo 5 is called Last Blood? The very last blood? The lastest blood? The very last and final blood for real this time, guys? But who cares? As long as Stallone's movies are great, people will love to watch more of them. And talking about clowns, blood, PTSD, and a high body count, let's move on to the next massive fall premiere. Joker. Once again, another acting legend will plaster on the rictus grin of the Joker, this time Joaquin Phoenix. Did you know that Phoenix turned down Marvel's offer to play mystic magician Doctor Strange, saying, "I enjoy those movies sometimes, and I think they keep the f***ing industry going in some ways, so I don't have a problem with it at all. I think everybody was really happy with how things turned out." Sounds like Phoenix isn't really a fan of superheroic action, right? So why would he agree to star in a DC movie? Can't be the money. The man turned down the Marvel megabucks. The answer is that this film will be way different from any regular comic movie. Director Todd Phillips has said that this Joker film was deeply inspired by Scorsese's early De Niro vehicles like Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and, most importantly of all, the King of Comedy. Better to be king for a night than schmuck for a lifetime. That's what De Niro's character says at the end of that movie. Indeed, the King of Comedy tells the story of an unsuccessful comic who turned out to be an insane criminal, which admitted is very close to the synopsis for 2019's Joker. Robert De Niro even features in the film, paying homage to his character from The King of Comedy. I think you're probably starting to get a good idea about how twisted and strange this movie might be. Joker will be in cinemas October 4th, and I don't know about you folks, but I'm looking forward to watching. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Angelina Jolie is back in theaters on October 18th, and Disney obviously has pretty big hopes for her latest star turn, especially after the first Maleficent movie in 2014 grossed $758.5 million. A smash hit considering the budget was only $180 million. Disney has even moved the original premiere of Maleficent, Mistress of Evil forward by 7 months, going from May 2020 to October 2019. Normally we hear all about delays, so it's pretty unusual for a Hollywood studio to bring something forward. I guess Disney want their most famous witch good and ready for Halloween. Jolie will be supported by a cast of great new actors including Ed Skrein, whom we know from Game of Thrones, Robert Lindsay, and Academy Award nominee Chiwetel Ejiofor, who you might have noticed at the very end of the film's trailer. So, what do we know so far about the Maleficent sequel? Well, here's what Disney's revealed about the plot. Maleficent 2 continues to explore the complex relationship between the Horned Fairy and the soon-to-be Queen, as they form new alliances and face new adversaries in their struggle to protect the Moors and the magical creatures that reside within. It sounds to me like the story will follow much the same style as the first movie. However, something still remains a little unclear. Will Maleficent actually turn evil or not? Because in the first film, Maleficent wasn't really a classical evil fairy, a la Disney's 1959 cartoon, but more like an anti-hero with her own depth and sympathetic character. However, the film title seems pretty straightforward, Mistress of Evil, which means that we should all get ready to see some truly shocking things that turn Maleficent completely over to the dark side. Zombieland Double Tap. Here comes one of my favorites on the list. I don't know about you folks, but I've been waiting for this film since 2009. However, there was nothing but rumors about a sequel until July 2018 when Zombieland Double Tap was finally announced. And just like you don't mess with the rules in the original, the studio has decided not to mess with a winning formula. The original cast, the original director, the original writers, they'll all be there. They're all back! Director Ruben Fleischer revealed that the sequel will mirror the real-life gap between the two movies. I mean, it's been 10 years, he said, so who knows what the world will look like at this point. But we don't know a lot about the plot except for the official synopsis. Columbus, Tallahassee, Wichita, and Little Rock move to the American heartland as they face off against evolved zombies, fellow survivors, and the growing pains of a snarky makeshift family. Besides the actors we saw in the first Zombieland, there'll be some cool new stars. Zoe Dutch, Rosario Dawson, Thomas Middleditch, Luke Wilson, and Avan Jogia, playing a character who is the epitome of the bad boy musician that you would hate for your daughter to fall in love with. But one of the biggest questions is, will we see Bill Murray in Double Tap or not? Sure, he died in the first movie, but hey, this is a zombie film after all. I'm sure he could shrug off the damage. Oscar nominee Abigail Breslin, aka Little Rock, also said that she would love to see a zombified Justin Bieber in the sequel. Was she joking or giving us a sly clue? I guess we'll find out on October 18th. Terminator, Dark Fate. He promised he'd be back. And this fall, he is! If you didn't get my reference, well, here's another hint.
I'll be back.
Yes! Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, aka the original Sarah Connor, and franchise creator James Cameron are all coming back on November the 1st for the 6th installment of the Terminator franchise, Terminator Dark Fate. Surprisingly enough, Dark Fate is a direct sequel to Terminator 2 Judgment Day, written and directed by James Cameron and co-written by William Wisher. Terminator 6 hasn't received its official rating from the MPAA yet, but according to Cameron, it'll almost certainly be rated R. I think tonally, what makes this a direct sequel to T1 and T2 is as much about the tone as it is about the narrative. It's R-rated. It's grim, it's gritty, it's fast, it's intense, it's very linear. The whole story takes place in 36 hours. Wow, sounds fair. Because the first two movies were both rated R, while two of the now discarded next three films were much more tame at PG-13. But much like a time-traveling robot hell-bent on terminating problems before they can even occur, Dark Fate has erased everything after T2 as if it never existed. In this new Terminator, James Cameron is only responsible for scripting and production, so now add to everything you've just heard the fact that T6 will be directed by Tim Miller, famed for making Deadpool, and you might have a chance to see a movie that is very close to the original classics. Fingers crossed. Frozen 2. Elsa, Anna, Kristoff, and Olaf are coming back for round 2 on November 22nd, and everyone is super excited about it. If you think that I'm exaggerating, Then listen to this. The Frozen 2 trailer set a new record for Disney, getting 116.4 million views in just 24 hours. In case this gigantic number means nothing to you, that's a world record for an animated movie. That's right, the film's already breaking records, and it hasn't even been released yet. Despite the fact that we've seen the trailer, we know next to nothing about the plot. What we do know is that the mysterious horse that Elsa meets underwater in the trailer is a Nook, a water spirit who guards the secrets of the seas by using the power of the ocean. Not much to go on, I know. So let's hear what head of animation Becky Breesy had to say. It's an evolution and an expansion of the story of Frozen, and many of the questions raised in the first movie become the mysteries that our gang are trying to solve in this film. Why was Elsa born with her powers? That's a good question. Co-director Chris Buck told Fandango that Frozen 2 will see the next evolution in the lives of the series characters Anna, Kristoff, and Olaf, but the biggest change in store will be for Elsa. She had such a dramatic journey, and at the end, she's just starting to feel like she can open up and have some fun again. That's what was really good about the short movie Frozen Fever. We could have fun with Elsa, and that personality, you'll see that in the next one. For now, there are tons of fan rumors circulating about the production, including one that caused a backlash among conservative, dare I say it, snowflakes? Many fans got together with the hashtag #GiveElsaAGirlfriend and even petitioned Disney to include more LGBT characters by revealing that Elsa is in fact gay. There was a predictable counter-petition, but even Idina Menzel, the voice behind Let It Go, backs up calls to give Elsa a girlfriend, saying, "I can't promise anybody that's what's going to happen, but deep down, am I really happy that it's causing people to talk about it and have these kinds of conversations? Yeah, I am." This latest trailer has renewed interest and intrigue, with some Twitter users claiming to have spotted Elsa's potential love interest. The chances of a children's film featuring a lesbian outing might seem slim, but Frozen 2 co-producer Jennifer Lee answered petitioners politely by saying that she thinks the fan interest is great. Elsa's every day telling me where she needs to go, and she'll continue to tell us. I always write from the character out, and where Elsa is and what Elsa's doing in her life, she's telling me every day. We'll see where we go. So what do you think? Is this all just a snowstorm in a teacup designed to drum up interest? Or should the haters just let it go? Let it go? Sorry, I promise not to do that again. So, which of these upcoming premieres are you marking down in your calendars, and which ones are you gonna give a miss? Let us know which ones and why in the comments below. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, subscribe to our channel, and as always, stay awesome.